What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Final Third. We are back! It is me, Sam, aka FIFA Brit, and I'm joined by Mr. Brad Thomas. Brad, I'm sorry, I couldn't make it last week. I mean, I texted you this, but I'm going to say it so that everyone at home knows. You know how I complain about how, like, whenever we start recording, the sirens just drive by? Yeah. I can live with sirens. But literally 10 minutes before we were supposed to start recording, these guys were outside doing just straight up construction for like 3 or 4 hours straight. I mean, like, it was absurd. Like, it was just like straight drilling outside, directly outside the apartment. And like all the windows are shut and everything. And like my mic does a pretty good job, but like,
yeah.
I wish I had a recording studio, but we're not that big yet. So maybe one day. One day I'll get a recording studio. But, we're back. Thank God all the construction got done in the morning today. Why they're doing so much construction on the roads, I don't know, because my road is not that important. But, hey, they did it at like 8 o'clock in the morning today. Great to wake up to. And I mean that seriously. That's when I have to wake up for work. So that was a good secondary alarm clock just right outside. But, look, it was bound to happen sooner or later. I was getting too cocky about us recording consecutive weeks of episodes. So, it had to happen. But it's good to be back. I'm doing well. How are you?
Dude, I'm good, man. I was able to get 2 bets in for soccer today, and I went 2-0, right? Like, it's always good when you win the only 2. It was light slate. As everyone knows, we were recording here on Thursday, but this cup, I've had a pretty good cup window. Like, this week has been pretty good for me. I'm normally a guy who doesn't go too heavy on cups, but they've been pretty fortunate, and I can't complain.
Yeah, I can complain, but that's I'm a complainer. What can I say? Cup games are weird. It's just like, and I know that going in, and I deliberately keep my exposure low because I keep saying, and I say it on Twitter every time, cup games are weird, guys. There's a lot of rotation, a lot of subs, a lot of weird shit happens.
A lot of weird shit.
So, be careful. So I try not to go like more than like a couple of units on like cup stuff. But I'm currently sweating out a particularly nice like 50-1 bet. So I did Salah to score and assist and Fermin Lopez to score and assist. Salah's got his done. So now all I need is a Fermin Lopez assist in the second half of this Valencia-Barca game, and Barcelona are up 4-0. So really, I'm just hoping they don't sub out Fermin Lopez. And I don't think they would, because he's not like a regular starter right now for them in the league. So I'm hoping they give him like a good, solid run, and they sub out guys like Rafinha and Yamal first, just because they need to be, fit for the league. Whereas Fermin Lopez is coming off the bench. So give this boy a full 90, please. That'd be lovely. But
I hope you get it. I can't believe when you said, will you need a score or assist?
So I took Salah and Fermin Lopez to score and assist. Salah's got his. Salah has a goal and an assist. Yep. Fermin Lopez has a goal in the first half. It's now halftime.
Ooh, and they're up 4-0.
They're up 4-0. Yeah. So they're gonna make subs. I'm just hoping he's not one of them. And I mean, Barca played Valencia like a week or 2 ago, and they won like 7-1. And Fermin Lopez had 2 goals and 2 assists in that game.
Yeah.
So I just want that again. Half of that, in fact.
Yeah.
Would be great.
That's freaking nice.
Yeah. Anyway, a lot has happened since we last spoke. The Champions League wrapped up. The January transfer window wrapped up. So we were supposed to talk about all of that last week. We couldn't. So now we're going to talk about it now. So let's cover the Champions League, because that was what a fun and exciting last day. That was really everything I wanted it to be. All the games, like, do I want it to happen again? No, that was a lot of effort. I mean, that took a lot out of me. But having 18 games on at the same time and just having like a load of shit going on was like, it was electric. I had a great time. I cashed a plus 3,000 goal scorers play. And thank God, because I think Santi Jimenez got subbed off like half an hour into the game. So thank God he scored early. But it was like him, Gakpo, and the guy for Benfica, Pavlidis.
Oh, yeah.
They were all 3 of them were above like plus 2,000, above plus 200. And I'm like, yo, I know these guys are playing away, but these guys score, yo.
Yeah.
These guys score goals. So that was fun.
That was sick.
A bunch of and I nailed basically all of my shots bets, and I felt really good about this one because I made like a full video covering every single game that was on the Gold Boys YouTube channel. It subsequently has now become the third most watched video on the Gold Boys YouTube channel, and one of the ones above it is a tutorial. And those like tutorials that's evergreen content. You're supposed to go back and watch that shit.
Yeah.
Whereas like videos about specific plays, you watch before the play and then you probably don't go back to them because it's not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
So out of all the videos covering plays, it's the second most on the Gold Boys YouTube channel. So I'm proud of that. And usually in my videos, when I do cover YouTube content, I don't discuss specific bets because I do a lot of player props and you really need lineups for those. And so I give like leans. I'd be like, hey, if this guy starts, I like this. But I never lock anything ahead of time because unless it's like on, Bet Rivers or something like that, because that's not how soccer works. So I always feel bad because everyone's like, oh, well, what are the bets? And I'm just like, well, you'll get them on Twitter. Like I'll give you a couple when lineups come out, but they're not going to be in the video because I don't really do that. But I had so many team shots props for the last day of the Champions League. I was like, yeah, okay. Like here's who needs shit. And like, cause so many of the lines were low, like Club Bruges' shot line against City was 7.5. And I'm like, I know it's City. I know Bruges are playing away from home, but 8 shots, like, come on. 8 shots against this City team that can't defend.
What did they finish with? I don't remember.
They got 12, I think, which was like plus like 500 or something like that. They nailed that. I played Benfica shots. The line was 10.5. Easy. I played. Who else did I play? I can't remember. There was another team. The only one that didn't hit was Monaco. Their line was 10.5. And they got 4 shots in the first 10 minutes, got a red card in the 12th minute, and then didn't record a shot after that. So that's just one where I'm just like, the red card just changed the entire game. They were almost halfway there in the first 10 minutes. That's just, what can you do about that?
Yeah, what can you do?
But I was really happy with that. That was the end of the Champions League was electric, but God, it was stressful.
I couldn't believe my Champions League. I freaking hit every bet. Except one, could have swept. And the one I didn't win was god doggone Juventus, both teams to score.
Oh my God. Yeah. What the fuck is up with your team, bro?
Dude, I was so pissed, man. I've been so mad. I think you posted something about like one transfer you wish could have happened or one replacement. And I was like, I was going to put Mata.
That's rough.
I mean, this team will be better. I actually do get what he's doing. Now it's starting to make sense. But at first, for a long time, I think up until this week or last week, I didn't understand what he was doing. But now that Weah is actually, making those runs and coming up and shooting, I get it, right? He's trying to trying to have someone to create chances from deep, right? Make it unbalanced for them. And you got to be able to defend at least if you're going to do that, though.
Hey, and now you've got a proper actual striker in Kolo Muani who's actually had a pretty good start so far.
Yeah.
He had a brace, I believe, like a week ago, right? Something. He looked good.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He did. He had a brace and technically shouldn't have had a brace, but he still looked good. Because one of those was a deflection goal, but he still looked good. Not going to take that away from him, right?
Yeah, for sure. And so now we have the knockouts, and people seemed confused by the format, and I don't get how it's confusing. It's so easy. It's just like people are just like, oh, were Madrid and Bayern going to play each other? And it just like you look at the graphic, it says so clearly Madrid or Bayern will play City or Celtic. Like that's how the seeding works, and then they got drawn, and funnily enough, we have City against Madrid again. So this is going to be what, the 3rd or the 4th time in the last 4 or 5 years. I think we've only had one Champions League in the past 4 or 5 years, but they haven't matched up against each other in some round. I love it because I'm so excited because this game, neither of these teams are playing their best football right now, and neither of them can defend, but they can all attack. So This game, I mean, like if there was ever a game to be like take both teams to score over 2.5, although it's definitely not playable at this point, or just to come up with a bunch of just like, responsibly, of course, to come up with a bunch of, goal and assist combos. This is the game to do it, like Haaland goal, Savio assist, or De Bruyne, whoever starts, or Foden, Vinny assist, Mbappe goal, Jude to score an assist. Just this game could be 4-all in both legs. It's going to be absurd. I'm so excited for it. It's just going to be like, I mean, they're going to be exhausted. Neither of these teams can defend in transition. Mateus Nunes is playing right back, for God's sake, for Man City right now. Picture Vinicius Jr. against a Mateus Nunes at right back. And then on the other side, picture Doku go up against Lucas Vazquez. Picture anyone going up against Lucas Vazquez.
I hope the game is a firework, right?
I really fail to see how it's not. I'm really looking forward to that. And it's just like so funny too, because you see like both fan bases just like whining, like, oh my God, why did we get drawn against them? And it's just like, I wonder if there was a way how you could guarantee that you don't play in this knockout playoff and you go straight to the round of 16 and get yourself an advantageous draw. How did we do that? Oh, you come in the top 8. Oh, what an ingenious system.
Novel concept right there, right?
What an interesting system. And it's just like, yeah, hey, Madrid, maybe don't come. Where do they come? 12th in the thing? Hey, you earned the right to play the team in 21st or 22nd. Good job. That happens to be Man City. So you should handle this team easily. Not to make everything about Arsenal, but I'm going to. But Arsenal just hung 5 goals on this City team. We won 5-1. So if you really are this European super powerhouse, you should score 5 in your sleep.
Yeah.
We scored 5 with, your Madrid reject Odegaard, with Kai Havertz, with Martinelli and Trossard. So you're telling me that you have Mbappe, you have Jude, you have Vinny, you have all these players, you have Rodrigo, who I keep forgetting to talk about because he's not a superstar, but he's actually playing really well right now. You have all these players. You should be able to score 5 easily. Shouldn't be that difficult. So I'm looking forward to it. That game's going to be electric.
Yeah.
At least I hope so.
It better be. Both teams scoring over 2.5 is probably going to be like minus 200.
Probably. Just throw in a goal scored in both halves. I know I say don't do that, but I feel like if it didn't happen in this game, I would be really upset. Alrighty, Barcelona are making substitutions. I just have to go and make sure it's not my guy. Alex Balde is subbing out. Okay, we can live with that.
1.
And Pau Kubasi is subbing out for Inigo Martinez. Okay, 2 defensive substitutions.
There you go.
That's perfect. That's 2 subs made. That means only 3 subs are left and both were used on defenders. That works for me just fine.
Yep.
Alrighty. I know I brought up Arsenal, and I know I said I wasn't going to do that anymore, but today is the day, Brad, because events have transpired. And look, there's no Premier League this weekend. There's just a bit of FA Cup, so we haven't got as many games to talk about. So I know people have said to us, Sam, maybe you should stop talking about Arsenal so much. And I just want to say to those people that did reach out, I need you to know I've done my best. I need you to know that and you know what? Not to blow my own trumpet, not to toot my own horn. I think I've done a pretty good job. Brad, would you agree? I think outside of discussing them in a professional capacity when they play, for example, and we can't not talk about them. They do play in the Premier League. They play in a lot of competitions. Well, 2 less since we last spoke, but we won't have to talk about that. But now events have transpired, and it is time to have a little discussion about not just Arsenal, but the state of football discourse in general. So I invite you all to come along on a little journey with me as we walk through this, because this is a very important conversation. Okay, and Brad, this won't just be a rant. You're going to be involved here too, so don't worry, everyone. This isn't going to be Sam talking for 15 minutes straight and then like looking up and being like Brad just like asleep at the wheel, just like, oh wait, is he done? Is he done? Oh, thank God. Okay, so let's talk. I mentioned that, well, do you know what? I'm not even going to we're not even going to start with the City game because we have to go back. I forgot. I was going to talk about this in the last episode, and then of course we didn't record last week. We're going to talk about refereeing in the Premier League. This is the big issue. Lewis Skelly's red card. Now, this happened against Wolves. And Brad, I assume you saw this incident. You did, right?
I did. I didn't think it was a red card.
Thank God. I was about to say, I was like, if we had to fight about that, don't get me started. But Lewis Skelly, Wolves are in their own penalty box, and they're about to break, and Lewis Skelly goes in for a tackle, misses, doesn't get the ball, and trips his man. Fair enough. It's a tactical foul. It's a cynical foul. Should be a yellow card. The guy's, he's about to hit on a breakaway. Should be a yellow card. He walks away from the incident expecting a yellow card. And then, of course, Michael Oliver brandishes his red card. There's scenes. Everyone is furious. Everyone's like, well, how on earth is this a red? And he's claiming that this was dangerous intent, that the tackle was it was dangerous foul play.
Yeah,
because it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity, because he was in his own. The Wolves were in their own penalty box. There's no way it was a goal scoring, and Arsenal had players back. It wasn't like it was a corner in the last minute and the goalkeeper was up and there was like a clear line. There's no goal score. This was dangerous foul play. Upon looking at the replay, it becomes incredibly clear that all he did was step on the guy's foot. And Michael Oliver was under the impression that he had gone in, studs up on the guy's leg, when there is no angle that conclusively shows that happened. And VAR looks at it and does nothing about it. Thank goodness, eventually it is rectified. Arsenal appeal, and it's overturned, no suspension. So thank goodness justice is done. And thank God Wolves get a red card. And funnily enough, also for stepping on a guy's foot, he gets a second yellow. So now stepping on a guy's foot is a yellow card offense. Oh, how interesting. So not only is there an inconsistent standard,
I don't even think he was going to book him. I think he only booked him because he was like, shit, I have to do something after the initial booking.
I mean, I don't wish that's the case because you shouldn't referee like that, but I don't think he thinks he made a mistake. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They wasn't trying to make up for it because in his eyes, he got it right.
Yeah.
VAR looked at it and look, I have issues with Michael Oliver. Now it then came out afterwards. There was all these big articles about how Michael Oliver had been suffering death threats. He had to send police around to his house, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not trying to diminish that. Obviously, no referee should receive death threats for doing their job. That obviously, I thought that would go without saying. People on Twitter, for some reason, don't get that. So I'm going to say it very clearly. No, referees should not receive death threats. But in the article, if you actually read all these articles, they were all citing about how the police had gone to protect Michael Oliver and his family, on their home. But in the article, they specifically said, "Oh, this happened after the Arsenal game. Oh, and by the way, this wasn't reported at the time, but a few weeks ago, after Man U played Liverpool, Man U fans called in a bomb threat on Michael Oliver's house." And then it's just like, well, hang on a second. So you're telling me that this happened before, when Man U fans were involved?
Yeah,
Man U fans called in a bomb threat on this man's house and his family, and you kept that one under wraps. But it happened. But then Arsenal fans, cause a fuss. And I'm not going to deny it. I bet some Arsenal fans probably did say some things that they shouldn't have. But that goes for every fan base, and I've said that frequently. But now Arsenal fans do it, and now it's worth writing an article about, and you're just going to bury the lead and say, "Oh, and by the way, Man U fans called it a bomb threat." No, that's not important, though. That's not the headline. We're going to make this about Arsenal fans. And that pisses me off, because it's become so clear that Arsenal are the team that everyone is just perfectly fine throwing all common sense and rational, unbiased thinking out of the window. There's no fair reporting. There's no fair officiating. And I'm not going to be the one that says the Premier League is out to get Arsenal. I don't think that's the case. I don't think there is.
I think you think that. You just
no,
said
no,
it.
no, 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 no. Don't you? People are going to clip that. They're going to cut out the I don't think this. They're going to cut out the don't. You just be like, I think there's a conspiracy. Shit. See, I just said it. I fucked it. I just said it. There we go. People are going to clip that. But so I don't think there is a conscious conspiracy. I don't think the FA and the PGMOL are just like, hey guys, how can we fuck over Arsenal today? I don't think that's the case. But I do think that unconscious bias plays not a huge role, but definitely plays a role in how games are officiated.
Yeah.
And I said this, earlier in the season when Saliba got his red card, when he was given a yellow card for a tackle on the halfway line when we had a recovering defender in position. So it should not meet the criteria for a denial of a goal scoring opportunity. Several factors, should not meet that criteria. Referee gave a yellow card. And then, we can talk about VAR in general overstepping its boundaries. I thought this was supposed to tackle clear and obvious errors. It has gone way beyond that. And it has now reached a point where if the referee in the booth has just a difference in opinion, then they are going to call the guy over to the monitor. And so for like that Saliba example, the yellow card, on-field decision. The referee in the booth disagrees. He says, I think that's a red card. I personally think that's a red card. He then calls the referee over. He's only showing video evidence or frames that support his opinion of a red card. Because he's, and again, that's not necessarily doing something wrong. He's doing what he's been instructed. I think there's a mistake. Here's why I think that. But of course, it's going to be a biased portrayal because it's a difference of subjective opinion. And he's only showing evidence that supports his subjective opinion. And so when you see something slowed down again and again and again, and you're only being shown, evidence, quote unquote, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but he's only showing angles that support his opinion, it's obviously going to change a referee's mind. And, so that's an issue in itself. And just the way that the media in general discuss Arsenal clearly affects referees' minds, consciously or unconsciously. And that then affects how games are refereed. And this is a problem with refereeing. It's a problem with the media. It's a problem with other fans. And it's just it's getting to the point where it's ridiculous. And all common sense, or even, you can't have a normal conversation with people that don't support Arsenal about Arsenal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was just the Lewis Scully red card, which was thankfully rectified.
Yes.
Then we get to this week.
I was like, I was getting so mad because I had freaking Arsenal in a parlay, and I was like, oh my God, this is so painful. It's so painful. I think I had your corners too, and like both hit. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. So that was just the red card incident. People threw their toys out of the pram for that. Then we get to the Arsenal City game. And as I just mentioned, this was a 5-1 destruction. I mean, I could not have asked for a better game. As an Arsenal fan, not only do I get to witness us, give Pep Guardiola arguably the worst defeat of his entire career. He's only conceded 5 goals in one other game, and that was to Leicester, I believe, in like COVID lockdown. And that game was 5-2. So you could argue 5-1 is worse. No, that's debatable. But we still, the second team in his entire career to score 5 goals. And you know who scored them? Nwaneri, Lewis Skelly, our Hale End, our academy graduates turned up in the biggest game, and delivered. That makes me so happy, I love seeing our guys succeed. And of course, after the game earlier in the season, and for those of you who somehow forgot this game, this is the game where Arsenal are winning 2-1. Then we get a stupid red card, a bullshit red card. In fact, I'm pretty sure that was Michael Oliver as well, when Trossard kicked the ball when he was playing a through ball to Martinelli, and half a second after the ref blew his whistle and he said, "Oh, you're intentionally time wasting. That's a second yellow. That's a red card." Completely changed the course of the game. Same referee who didn't give Kovacic a second yellow in the fixture last season because he didn't want to affect the game. Interesting double standards here. I guess we can change the game if it benefits the team that Arsenal are playing. And then Arsenal are up 2-1. We have everyone behind the ball defending a lead, which, and I said this at the time, defending a lead is trying to win. And if you disagree with that, you are stupid. So we defend the lead. City take about 30-something shots.
Yeah. And
score with like the last kick of the game and celebrate like they've won the league. This is, keep in mind, this is a draw. This is a draw against 10 men. And at home, this is at the Etihad. And they celebrate a draw like they've won the league. And Haaland takes the ball and beams it into the back of Gabriel's head.
Yeah.
No consequences whatsoever. Now, before we get to this game, just imagine, let me paint you a picture. Imagine if Arsenal were playing City, and City got a red card. This would never happen, by the way. Unrealistic scenario, because City would never get a red card. And then we celebrate a draw against City like we've won the league, and then one of our players beams a ball into the back of Haaland's head. Guarantee you, if that happens, we are ridiculed across social media for celebrating a draw. Our player gets a straight red card for violent conduct, banned probably for 5 games for violent conduct. And then, and then, people will be like, "Oh, they should have obeyed the letter of the law. You can't throw a ball at someone's head." But when Haaland does it to Gabriel, it's banter. It's banter. And it's funny. So Arsenal unfairly judged. Again, there's a double standard. That would never, City doing everything that their fans claim to hate. And, so that's absurd. And then we get to this game. We win 5-1. We celebrate. Lewis Skelly famously copies Haaland's celebration, does the little meditation thing. When we score the first goal inside 2 minutes, Gabriel, who, funnily enough, let's not forget, had a ball beamed into the back of his head by Haaland, celebrates in Haaland's face when we score a goal. And suddenly, there is an outcry on social media, not just on social media, but on the actual media, on Sky Sports. They had the chief, the Premier League, I can't remember what his job title was. What is it? The Premier League chief football officer goes on to Sky Sports and says, "Oh, we're going to start monitoring inflammatory goal celebrations." What? I'm sorry. If you go on the Sky Sports YouTube channel, you can find compilations of it's called Jamie Vardy's best wind-up celebrations. The official Premier League Twitter account has a post about when Mopé scored last season and he copied James Maddison's dart celebration. It was just something like, "Always a good time when Mopé's on the pitch." But then Arsenal copy Haaland's celebration. And let's not forget, Haaland went up to Lewis Skelly, who is 18 years old, and said, "Who the fuck are you?" after we drew with them 2-2. I'm sorry, you're beefing with an 18-year-old who was on the bench. What? And he mimics his celebration. That's a problem. It's absurd to me. Gabriel celebrates in the guy's face, and suddenly that's a problem. And we have the chief football officer of the Premier League saying that the referee should have given him a yellow card in the second minute. By the way, this happens if he caught that and it was a mistake not to. I don't get it, because fans have been, and I want to say I have no problem with any of this, because in response to Gabriel yelling in his face, Haaland tapped his badge with the golden Premier League badge that shows that they won the league. My mum said, "I think Haaland's a prick" when he did that. Ooh. I was like, fair play. We scream in his face. He taps and says, "Hey, I just won the fucking league." Fair. Yeah. I think that's fair enough. Same thing with Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon scores in the first leg of the Carabao Cup. And he copies Henry's celebration where he goes over to the corner and he's standing by the corner flag like this. Copies Henry's celebration. Funnily enough, no one had a problem with that. In fact, everybody loved it. And you know what? I loved it too. Well, I didn't love it. He'd scored a goal against Arsenal. Didn't love it. But I said, you know what? Fair play. Good banter. You know, if you want to copy Henry, fair enough. You know what? Henry is that guy. And if you want to copy Henry's celebration having scored against Arsenal in Arsenal's own stadium, fair enough. That, you know, I can't argue with that. I think that's great. The same way I think that Lewis Skelly's celebration is great. The same way that I think Gabriel celebrating in Haaland's face. Brilliant. Give it back. Give it back. We need, and it makes no sense to me because all these rival fans, these same people are going onto Twitter and are complaining that the modern game is too soft. They're the ones posting about the Barclays era, about all these Barclays men. They missed the olden days when there was a bit of edge to rivalry. And then they go on and talk about the City Pool era. The City Pool era when Liverpool won one COVID league title and City have about 6. That wasn't a rivalry. They spent those 7 years, and they still do it now, sucking each other's dicks and talking about the City Pool era. It wasn't an era. It was just City. And Liverpool were the team in second place doing exactly what Arsenal are doing right now. We're the ones right behind trying to cause a little bit of trouble. But Arsenal and City, that's a rivalry. That fixture has had some proper beef in the past couple of seasons because City have realized they can't beat us. Are they still winning the league? Yes, absolutely. And even though I think they're cheating, fair enough, that is the result that matters. They are winning the league. But the Arsenal-City games have such intensity now, have such rivalry because they can't beat us. And it clearly pisses them off, the players, that is. And then, of course, all the fans are annoyed. So all they can do is just revert back to talking about trophies, blah, 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 blah. And, do trophies matter? Yes, of course. No one's ever going to say they don't. But I think we live in an era now where people just operate on exclusively trophy-based analysis. Yeah. And they're just like, oh, Ten Hag won a League Cup and an FA Cup in his, in the last 2 years. And it's just like, okay, Man U fans, did you want him? Did you want to keep him then? And then suddenly they go quiet because they can't quite put 2 and 2 together. They'll happily prop up Ten Hag's 2 trophies when they want to make fun of Arteta. Yeah. But you ask them, okay, was Ten Hag a good manager? Did you support him? They either go silent, then you go back and check their Twitter profile, and you'll see Ten Hag out, Ten Hag out, Ten Hag out. Oh, so now we agree he wasn't a good manager, even though he won those 2 trophies. Okay, interesting. Almost like there is more to success than simply a binary, did you win a trophy, yes or no? Do trophies matter? Yes, obviously. Yeah. Is it the only thing that matters? Is it the only indication of success? No. If you think Arteta hasn't improved Arsenal as a squad, you are blind. If you think there is someone out there better than Arteta for Arsenal right now, I strongly disagree. And then all these fans that want rivalries back, that want a little bit of intensity back, that want shithousery back in the Premier League, they love it when they see it. But then when Arsenal do it, suddenly we aren't allowed to do it because we haven't won anything major recently. Apparently there is now gatekeeping of celebration. Apparently you have to have won something significant in order to be able to celebrate.
Yep. No more celebrating.
But let's keep in mind, they were perfectly fine with Anthony Gordon doing that celebration in the first leg. When was the last time Newcastle won a trophy? Let's go back. Let's keep going back in time. It's a long time ago, guys. But you like it when Newcastle do it because it's against Arsenal. That's the difference. And when Arsenal do it, suddenly it's a problem. Suddenly it's cringe. Suddenly, Arsenal haven't won anything. Who gives you the right to celebrate a 5-1 win against Man City? I'll tell you what gives us the right to celebrate a 5-1 win against Man City. Winning 5-1 against Man City. That's it. That's it.
You kick anybody's ass, you should be able to celebrate.
Absolutely. And I'm tired of people saying it didn't matter. I'm sorry. Would you ever say that Liverpool against Man U doesn't matter? I don't care how shit Man U are. That fixture matters. That game matters. And everyone's trying for that. Even Arsenal Spurs. Spurs are horrific right now, but the North London derby matters. Arsenal against Man City matters. It doesn't matter how good or bad either team is. That fixture matters, and hanging 5-1 on their heads definitely matters.
Yeah.
And to claim that it doesn't, to pretend like you don't care, or to demand that other fans pretend they don't care is ridiculous. It's hypocritical. They would never say it about any other fan base. And I'm tired of fans pretending like it's cool to not care about something. No, it's brilliant. I love caring about it. I love celebrating a 5-1 win against City. And you all claim to love that shit too. The only reason you don't is because Arsenal did it. Everyone wants to see City fall down, but as soon as Arsenal become involved, suddenly it's a race to get City's giant dick in everyone's mouth. Everyone can't get enough of City. Oh, City won the league. You can't do that to them. What happened to all of us against City? What happened to fuck City? What happened to 115 charges? Where it all goes out the window. Common sense, logic, reason. Any remote, semblance of being fair goes out the window as soon as Arsenal get involved. And people and you can't have a normal conversation with someone about it. I don't get it. It's ridiculous. It ruins football discourse because no one is capable of having a proper, intelligent conversation. Twitter itself as a platform doesn't help because you get paid for more interactions, and fair enough, that's brilliant for creators, but it also creates an environment where people just tweet a bunch of clickbaity shit.
Yeah.
And that gets prioritized in your timeline over well thought out, intellectual debate. And it's just, is it about Arsenal? Well, for me, yes, of course it is. But this kind of attitude, this kind of approach ruins football discourse, and it makes everything so frustrating. You can't say anything. You can't talk to anyone about anything. Everyone is only focused on their own teams. And then when they get involved in other teams, there's no common sense. Everything just is gone. And you can't have a normal conversation with anyone. But you know what? That's why this podcast exists. That's why we're here. Because we can have an intelligent conversation about things. And with that being said, I think it's time to move on. I think I've said my piece.
Dun, dun, dun.
I feel good about that. I've got that off my chest. And if anyone disagrees with anything I've said, please tweet at me. If you're open to having a proper conversation about it, fair enough. If you're just here to fuck around, I will do my best to not get engaged. But if you piss me off, you might get me. I like to claim I'm immune from clickbait. I'm not. You follow me on Twitter. Well, I say you all do. If you don't, it's at FIFA Brit. Go and do that right now. But you've seen me get mad. It happens. It happens. So let's move on. Let's talk about the January transfer window, shall we, Brad?
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah, this was a lot of things happened in this window.
Yeah.
I put out a poll, and I was just like, okay, who do you guys think won the January transfer window? I only gave 3 options, but in my mind, there were 3 clear teams that made the most amount of moves. And for me, that was Aston Villa, AC Milan, and Man City. According to the public, and by the public, I mean the 200 or so people that voted for this, Aston Villa had 39%, AC Milan had 29%, and Man City had 24%. So let's talk about Aston Villa's window, because this is a brilliant window for them. I think it's been too many times we've seen teams go into European competition, whether it's the Champions League, whether it's Europa League, and they're a smaller team. They've just scraped in and they've got into European competition because they had a really one good domestic season, and then they fall off the ball. They struggle. They don't properly reinforce the squad to be able to handle playing 2 games in a week. Yeah. Aston Villa have handled it really well. Now, have their Premier League performances dipped after their European performances? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think they might have won only 1 game in the league after they play in Europe.
Yeah.
But they're doing well in the Champions League.
It was important for them to get like the much needed depth, and they did, and they got scoring attacking depth. That's what was really nice. If it works, that's we don't know yet, but picking up Rashford, Malen, and Asensio, that's attacking depth that you're going to need. Not all of them are going to be full-time starters. Not all of them will be playing a ton. But if you continue and you have the your eyes set on Champions League, at least play as long as you can. You need these kind of players.
Yeah. And now they have a brilliant amount of depth. I mean, obviously the big news was Duran out of nowhere going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
But I think it was getting pretty clear that they needed to offload either Ollie Watkins or Duran.
Yeah.
It was reaching the point where, because Emery doesn't play a two-striker formation, I think they started together once or twice this whole season. He has two incredibly, top quality strikers, and he couldn't start them all, so it made sense to cash in on one of them. Now, Ollie Watkins was floated to Arsenal. Arsenal bid 40 million. Aston Villa said, no, we want 60. And while we thought about that, Duran was then sold, and Aston Villa were never going to sell them both. So Duran goes to Saudi for 70 million. They then bring in, they'd already brought in Daniel Marlin for 22 million. That's a brilliant bit of business.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great value signing. It reminded me of when Arsenal signed Trossard for 27, but this is like miles better, cheaper, and a better player. This is someone with Champions League pedigree here. They got him. They got Rashford on loan. I mean, a big gamble, sure, but it's not like they're going to rely on him. They have loads of attackers. They don't have to live or die by Marcus Rashford, but he's going to get a good chance now. They've got Asensio, which is just like, okay, wow, you brought in players with Champions League pedigree.
Yep.
And you're going to be playing, here's a surprise, in the Champions League. That makes sense. A brilliant window. They also did they sign a defender? I think they did, but then I can't remember if that actually went through or if it didn't go through.
They did. The center back from Chelsea.
Oh, Disassi?
Yeah.
They ended up getting him? Okay, that's what I thought.
Let me check.
I thought they did, but I don't know if they definitely did. They did. Okay, makes sense. Decent signing. I don't particularly rate him very highly, but hey, it's a signing. It's a signing.
It's always funny too. Like we see these players that like we don't rate highly, and they're like, one man's trash, another man's treasure.
Damn right. I mean, sometimes all it takes is a different environment. That's all it takes. I thought Aston Villa had a brilliant window. AC Milan, what a fascinating window, because I mean, I think everyone was clowning them over the summer. How do you offer Morata a 4.5-year contract? Like, what? This is the most mid of mid strikers, and you give him big money, big deal. You bring him in. Meanwhile, guys like Okafor aren't playing, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
They then somehow, and then who did they sign from Spurs? Emerson Royal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did you ever watch him play? Did you ever lay eyes on this man? Because anyone who's watched him play immediately is just like, oh my God, this guy can't defend. And he also he offers you nothing offensively as well. He's awful. And then somehow, in the January transfer window, they are able to offload Morata to Galatasaray on a permanent deal. Immediately dump that. They bring in Santi Jimenez, a much better striker.
Yep.
And they offload. They don't offload. They still have Emerson Royal, but they bring in Kyle Walker on loan. Who is he a bit washed? Sure. Can he handle the Serie A?
Right?
He can handle the Serie A.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, who are the left wingers in the Serie A that he probably couldn't handle? Leao, who he doesn't have to defend because he plays on the same team, and Special K, who now plays in the French league. So okay, brilliant. The two brilliant left wingers in the Serie A, Kyle Walker will never face.
Yep.
Easy. So good move. And they do that. They bring in João Felix on loan, which, by the way, Chelsea, what are you doing? You signed this man on a 7-year contract, and now you're loaning him out.
That was weird.
Yeah, it's almost like Chelsea having two separate squads for the Prem and the Conference League isn't sustainable. Almost like they would need to register their first team for the knockouts of the Conference League because they have to actually try now. And all those players who were getting playing time suddenly don't have that path to the starting 11 anymore. Oh, is that going to cause problems? Oh, how interesting. If only someone could have predicted this. Huh. It's almost like we said having a squad this big would be a problem. It's almost like we said that it working for the group stages of the Conference League would be a temporary fix. A good approach for the first half of the season, terrible for long-term implications. So we'll see how that goes. But you know what? Good for João Felix. I still think he's a decent player, but my goodness, this man has been passed around. This guy is
Dude, he has.
this guy is the Dennis Schroeder of soccer. This guy just plays everywhere, yo.
Yeah.
But good for him. I believe he just scored in the cup. I think it was on a Santi Jimenez assist. So the new boys combining right there. So that was fun. And yeah, so that was a pretty good window. And then obviously Man City. I mean, they spent 200 million. So it's like, can you call it a good window
when you spend that kind of money? Man City,
I guess you kind of have to, because is
budget. Like they're not like they're not like, oh, you go pick up this outfit. How much was this outfit? Oh, I got it on sale. No, they're like, I'm walking into the Gucci store and this is what I want. Like they have no sense of like getting anybody on a value.
Yeah, no, for sure. It just feels like a rich couple walking into a store and just being like, "Oh, I'll get you anything you want. What do you need?
Even if you don't need it, though. Even if you don't need it.
Yeah. What do you want? To be fair, and because in case you guys don't know, I can't stand Manchester City. As morally, the financial charges against them. Do we have a decision? No. But 115 is a lot. I think they've cheated to obtain their wealth and their status. So be it. Doesn't mean I can't appreciate their football, and I do my best to evaluate their needs as a football club separately. Try to put all the trial 115 charges out of the window, because is that looming over them? Sure. Did they have problems as a football team that need addressing? Yeah, absolutely. They did not have a proper cover for Rodri. And that I said that in the summer. I'm like, if Rodri gets hurt, you have no one. You have no natural six. The only other true six they had was Calvin Phillips, and they loaned him out.
Yeah.
So they had no cover for him, and they did not properly replace Julian Alvarez. They had a brilliant system with Julian Alvarez where they could have that second striker who could drop into midfield, make runs, and then move forward and operate as the second striker. So if Haaland was getting double, triple teamed by defenders, then they would have another goal-scoring option who could then become open and could pose a brilliant threat. And Julian Alvarez was great for Man City in that particular role.
Yeah.
They identified their needs. They brought them in. They brought in Marmoush for 70 million. Great signing. Did they overpay? Yeah. Does it matter? No. They're Man City. They can pay whatever they want. They get him for 70 million. They brought in Nico Gonzalez, not the Juventus guy, but the centre mid from Porto. Is he a true natural six? Not really. I think he's more of an 8, but can he play defensive mid? Yes. Fine. Brilliant. Okay. Now we have another centre mid. Fair enough. Now you don't have to keep playing Rico, Lewis, Gundogan, and Kovacic there. You can rotate a little bit. And then they signed 2 young centre backs because their defense is getting weak and they needed a different kind of defender. Because Rico Lewis, not brilliant at playing in defense, not brilliant playing midfield either. He's more of a traditional right back.
Yeah.
And Pep's kind of abandoned his whole inverted fullback thing. It's not really he's still doing it to a certain extent, but he's kind of embraced more of a natural fullback role. So he's brought in Kusanov, who I forget what country he's from, but he's the first player from this country to play in the Premier League. So that's awesome.
Uzbekistan?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I was like, it's one of the stans for sure. Yeah. First player from Uzbekistan to play in the Premier League. That's awesome. He practically shat his pants in his first game. Unfortunate. Tried to head it back to the goalkeeper.
He did. Oh my God.
And just gifted Chelsea a goal. I felt bad for him because he looks about 13. He has a baby face and he looked like he was going to cry. And I was just like, I know you play for City, but I feel bad for you. I'm sorry. But, so and then they brought in a Brazilian centre back as well for like 40 million for an 18-year-old. Okay, cool. Sick. So did they address their needs? Yeah, but it pisses me off because I'm tired of people putting Pep Guardiola in like the greatest manager of all time. It's just like, did he influence the game from a tactical perspective? Yeah, absolutely. Tactics wise, he's a revolutionary manager. But are you telling this man has never been challenged in his life? His managerial career is Barcelona with the best player in the world, Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga, and Man City with an infinite money glitch. I'm sorry, this man has never been challenged in his life. He is not the greatest manager of all time. Brilliant, tactically, sure. Absolutely fair enough. Incredibly influential. But this man has never faced a challenge in his life. and I am tired of people pretending like that's not the case. He spent 200 million in January. Cool. I guess. Cool. You fixed your problems, Pep. Now, let's see. Let's see what you do with it. But yeah, that was the January transfer window. Arsenal did nothing, and it looks like it's going to come back to bite us. Madrid did nothing. No defender was brought in.
That was weird.
I thought they would sign a defender, and now Rudiger is injured. That might come back to bite them too. And Chelsea, what are you doing? What are you doing? But I ask myself that every week. So that's not unique to the January transfer window. That's just in general. What are you doing?
Yeah.
All right. That's the intro done. Now we can talk about upcoming games. To be fair, like I said, there aren't that many super important games. We've got a bit of FA Cup. We do have one Premier League game. It's the makeup game, the Merseyside Derby. And we have some other games in other leagues, but that's pretty much it. Let's talk about the Premier League. We have the Merseyside Derby. That's between Everton and Liverpool. That's happening next week on Wednesday. So we won't have an episode out between, well, you get this episode, but we won't have another episode to talk about this. So now this is the big game. This is Everton. This is Liverpool's, well, I guess it is also Everton's game in hand. But this, for the purposes of the title race, this is Liverpool's game in hand that they have over Arsenal. They are playing an Everton side who are at home. Now we talked about this earlier. I said, but they rescheduled this. This is the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park.
Yeah.
And Everton, let's not lie about it. Everton are playing kind of well right now.
They are, dude, right?
Kind of well.
They were like minus 130 favorites over the weekend. And I was like, or last weekend, I was like, I can never do it. And then they ended up winning. I was like, holy shit. I should have done it.
Yep. You know, I know I criticized firing Sean Dyche. I still think it was a little harsh, but then obviously it came out after the fact that he basically said, I think you should fire me. And so they fired him. So I guess fair enough. He asked for it. And then they hired David Moyes. They hired David Moyes, which I thought was more of a legacy signing. And it turns out he's actually doing pretty well. So hands up. I was wrong about that. Well, I wasn't wrong. I was harsh. I said, I hope you go down as a result. Now I want to see David Moyes succeed. So this is an interesting one. This is the big game for Liverpool. Should they win? Yes. Are they priced like they're going to win? Yes. Do I think Everton have a chance? Maybe. I won't rule it out. But I need Pickford to play out of his fucking mind. How do you think this game's going to go, Brad?
I think Liverpool are going to win. I think they're going to win a low-scoring game. Like, I'm going to be on Liverpool to win in under 4.5 goals. It's like minus 120. Liverpool just playing out of their mind right now. I know Everton are playing much better, but like, this is just a capitalization moment, right? Like this just takes you so much further in the title race. You have to like nut up and find a way to get 3 here.
Yeah. Who's nutting? Who's nutting?
All of the guys on Liverpool. There's gonna be nutting all over the field. It's gonna be Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue all over.
Hey, what a wonderful visual image you've put in my mind, Brad. Thank you.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I mean, I'm not sure if it'll be high scoring, but I do think it'll be fascinating to watch. But we'll see. Let's talk about some FA Cup. Now, the FA Cup is weird because not every game is available in every state. Some games only have some games have all the games. Like, for example, the Man City game, I don't get in New York, but a lot of people do have that. I mean, they're playing Leyton Orient, who are, I believe, are in the 3rd division, so they're in League One. They're in the 3rd division of English football. So the odds are going to suck if you can bet that game. But I can't, so I'm not really going to talk about it. Plus, I think I've talked enough about Man City. Let's talk about Man U against Leicester. This is going to be the Friday game, so this will be the game that you guys get today when this comes out. Now, we've had this fixture rather a lot this season. I mean, we've had it in the league, but we had it in the League Cup, and that's been Man U. I think they won like 5-1. I think it was their first game under Van Nistelrooy as an interim manager. And then they just absolutely rocked up and spanked the shit out of Leicester. And everyone was just like, well, wow, that was a good result. Wow. So I am interested in this game. I'm interested to see who starts because Ruben Amorim has been experimenting with stuff. He's been playing Kobe Mainu in the front 3.
Yeah, that's
team. which is really, really weird. And
Yeah,
it
very
worked.
weird.
It worked in one game. He had a goal and an assist, and I was like, "Oh, fair enough." And I was kind of mad that I wasn't watching it. I was out at the time because I wish
Yeah.
I'd live bet his shots because I was like, "This man is going to be priced as a defensive mid," and I'm tempted to take him again in this game because there's always a chance that Ruben Amorim's just like, "Fuck it, play him as the 9." He doesn't rate Holland, he doesn't rate Xerxes. Fuck it, Kobe Mainoo's a striker now. All right, say less. Let me bet his shots. That sounds sick. So we'll see. There's also just like no way to tell if he's actually doing that because the problem is they have so many versatile players.
Yeah.
And like if Bruno is listed in the lineup, it's just like, hey, is Bruno playing as like one of the 10s, one of the dual 10s, or is he playing in the center of midfield, guys? And Man, you don't list their lineups in positional order; they list in number order, so you can't tell who's playing where. You have to kind of guess. So there's nothing that indicates if Mainoo is playing up there or not. You kind of just have to be like, I mean, or alternatively, you don't bet pre-flop. You watch the game, and then you find a book that offers shots live. Now, FanDuel has been offering live
Have they
shots.
been offering them for the FA Cup?
No, they haven't. That's the problem. But Fanatics might be because Fanatics has had live shots for a long time.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, maybe you peep it there. I don't know if FanDuel will have it, but that is one option. You can always just hold off, wait to see how it's looking in game, and then live bet things from there. But that's always risky because people could have figured it out by then and killed the price. So you kind of just have to wait and see, or have some balls and go for it off rip and pray that you're right. It's not like Mainoo doesn't shoot as a midfielder. If his one shot is even money, even as a center mid, I think that's a good look. He's always there on the edge of the box, and he will always take the most meaningless, like low XG from like 30 yards out. Yeah, he'll take one.
Yeah.
Don't worry. He'll be there on the edge of the box. Don't worry. He'll rip one.
Dude, I'm
fascinated to see how they line up.
For all these cup matches, I haven't been playing any player props. So
that's probably smart because there are so many subs and weird shit. I don't blame you at all for not touching that shit. Fair enough. We'll see. And then Leicester, fuck it. I don't know what Leicester are doing. Man, you should win this game. Yeah. Man, you should win this game. It'd be pretty embarrassing if they don't. Let's talk about Everton.
I mean, they're a goal and a half favorite, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they should. If they don't, we will be there. All right, let's talk about Everton against Bournemouth. Now, as we just said, Everton playing pretty well. Bournemouth also playing pretty damn well. I can't believe they didn't score against Liverpool. I mean, I locked in like several days in advance both teams to score and Liverpool double chance for like minus 120, and then somehow Bournemouth couldn't find one, and I was just like, God, come on, guys.
I kind of like Bournemouth to qualify, right? Minus 125.
Yeah.
You do draw no bet for a nickel more, but
yeah, you could.
Just listen. This run that Everton are on, it's gonna end. They're not talented as a team.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. They're not. They're decent. And also they're going to try in the FA Cup. This is like, it's a chance of silverware. Is it unlikely? Yeah, but are they going to try? Yes, obviously. And it's going to be difficult. But I rate Bournemouth a lot. I think this will be an interesting game. This is one of those games where I'm really tempted to see if like both teams to score is like bettable because I could see it.
Yeah,
and it's usually pretty bettable with Everton games.
Minus 160.
Add over 2.5. Fuck it. Someone get me a third goal.
Oh my god. It's like
someone will
get like nightmares thinking about like I get like nightmares thinking about needing a third goal in any Everton match. It's like, oh my god.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Wait, this is crazy. Total sidebar. Yes. I wanted to check to see if I got paid out from my bet from the Liverpool Tottenham match. Was there not a single booking in the entire match?
Let's have a look.
I don't think there was.
There was not. Nope, not a single card.
I bet Liverpool plus a half on the yellow card handicap. What a horrible way to win. No one gets booked.
Hey, that works.
Yeah, dude. So I've been using this one sports book. They have it's a European book. They have all of these freaking crazy betting options, and I want to share them on Discord, but I'm like, no one has access to these. So I've just been having such a fun time. I'm getting into these freaking handicap markets with cards and fouls and offsides. It's been great.
That's fun. Yeah, offsides become quite popular because in certain states, I think DraftKings is offering it now. So
oh yeah. So DraftKings kind of did what FanDuel at first half shots. They were offering player offsides, and then they just stopped offering them because they're getting crushed.
Yeah, because they were putting players like Moise Keane at plus 100 for an offside. Like, hey, yo, he does that shit 3.5 times, guys. Yeah, they were not pricing that shit correctly at all.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Brighton against Chelsea. One of those games that should be a lot of fun because neither of these teams defends pretty well.
Yeah.
But I respect both of their attacks. So hopefully, again, the problem is these teams are going to rotate. Brighton, like Bournemouth, have an infinite number of mid-tier attackers.
They all are like, oh God, I need to get a freaking goal out of one of these guys.
Yeah, it's just like
some days you're like, wow, what a great goal, right?
Like they'll line up. And also, by the way, not to hark back too much to the January transfer window, but Brighton turning down 90 million for Mitoma is crazy to me.
Insane.
Because their whole thing is buying players or developing players out of the academy, buying them for cheap, letting them play, develop, and then selling them for big money. Like Caicedo, Cucurella, Trossard, Pascal Gross. Like a lot of these players that they either developed or they bought for cheap. They play really well, catch the attention, they sell them for big money. I understand Mitoma is a very key player. He's been around for a while for them. I get it. He's one of your main guys. But 90 million? You're turning that down? You can just play Jorginho Ruta there. It's fine. Is he a different profile, different kind of player? Yeah, sure. But it's 90 million, guys. It's like when Barcelona bid 90 million for Coutinho, and everyone was just like, I don't know who's crazier, Barcelona for bidding 90 million or Liverpool for turning it down. And then he eventually sold for 120 million, and everyone was just like, what the fuck just happened? How did that happen? Remember when Barcelona had money?
Yeah.
What a time in our lives.
Those were the days.
Yeah. So I don't understand how you turned down 90 million for Mitoma, but having now turned it down, he better turn the fuck up against Chelsea.
Yeah. He better ball.
You better show him why you stay at this club. You better reward some of that loyalty towards you and put in a motherfucking decent performance against Chelsea of all teams who have had a bit of a dip in form lately. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. What a shame. Almost like we predicted this earlier in the season.
Yeah, I was probably going to bet over 3. So
yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's a good. I see. This game should be like 3-1, 3-2, 4-1. Yeah, I see.
As long as we don't get some
combos to get the goals you need.
Like, what is this lineup? That's all I gotta avoid.
Yeah, fair enough. And also, even if they play like second string guys, like second string for Brighton means like Ruter and Simon Adingra, like guys like that, like guys who are solid, guys who are very solid and can still score goals. So
yeah,
these aren't guys to cry about. They can still get you your goals. So I like the over. I mean, it's a game where usually I would say this is the high scoring match. Let's do a player prop lotto, but there's every chance someone gets subbed off at halftime or at 60 minutes in. So it's just like, is it worth it? No. Will it be fun? Yeah, but not when they get subbed. So probably not. We'll see. And then Aston Villa against Spurs. Aston Villa at home. The money line is like minus 135 against Spurs. Okay, yeah, it feels like a trap. It feels like a trap because Aston Villa are such a bipolar team. Spurs we know are just bad.
They're bad.
We know Spurs are bad, but Aston Villa are also so inconsistent.
It's like the opposite of what you're supposed to do, right? Like when a team when a team is overpriced, right? Then you bet the other side. That's like what's happening right now. Like, doesn't matter who they're playing. They're not a minus 125 favorite against Spurs, right? Like that shouldn't be. Maybe +1. Let's see what would the +1 price be. Probably shit.
Oh, definitely.
I
Probably
wouldn't
like
have it on
minus
this book.
400.
Frick, minus 155. I don't know. I bought this game. Both teams to score.
Yeah, we'll get goals.
Yeah. That's all I can say.
For sure. Alrighty. I think we've covered England pretty well. Let's go abroad. Hey, La Liga. There's an important game in La Liga this week. It's the Madrid derby. This is one of those incredibly unpredictable fixtures. It's either chock full of goals and you get like a 3-1, 4-1 type shit, or it is the sweatiest, dirtiest 0-0 or 1-0 90th minute winner with like 10 cards in it that you'll ever see. And there is no in between.
Oh God. I'd probably see if I could extract a little value out of this and take Atletico team total over 1.5. It's plus 200, right? Ooh. Like just hopefully we get a banger.
Yeah, I mean, like, both teams have got players that, are playing very well right now.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to bet that right now.
Fair enough. Madrid's defense is not exactly.
I know, right? Like
rock solid.
And like, I just feel like it's going to be a game one way or the other. It's going to be a game if it's a high scoring game, or it's going to be a game if it's a low scoring game, right? So
for sure, it'll be an entertaining watch. I'm just not sure what I want to put my money into.
Yeah, it'll be competitive.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely be competitive. This is a big one for title implications because Atletico aren't out of the race. They're very much in it.
That could be the worst $100 I've ever spent, but
for sure, 100%. But we'll find out, right?
Yeah.
I would never put serious money on backing Madrid's defense at this point in time with Rudiger out and Vazquez basically being a ghost. So they have to rely on the teenagers.
Yeah.
Or Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni is going to play in the back for sure. It'll be Tchouaméni and a teenager and Lucas Vazquez.
Yeah, you're telling me that team total over 1.5 is plus 2-0. What was it? Plus.
Is it 205? Something like that?
Plus 205. Yeah, bro. Come on. Like, come on. That's money. Listen, I'm about to put it in Discord right now.
Nice. Look at that.
Everyone's gonna be like, what the hell? Why did we bet this shit after it ends 1-0?
Yeah, but it'll be a fun 1-0 to watch.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think I'll look at Vinny props. Vinny likes this fixture.
Yeah.
Whether it's a yellow, he's either scoring a hat trick or getting a red card. There's no in between.
Is Madrid's attack going to be a fit for this though?
Because
I know they're battling with some injuries.
They rested guys. They rested guys for the Copa.
It was just resting.
Yeah, I think so.
I read Carlo's statement, but I didn't know if he was like saying they're resting or like they're banged up.
Yeah, I just think I think Bellingham and Mbappe are like kind of hurt, but like Jude's always like kind of hurt. Like he's always got like something going on with his thigh or something like that, and it's just like, okay, is he injured? Technically, yes, but we're just going to give him a day off, and he'll be back. He'll be fine.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a serious issue. I would imagine they're all back for this game.
Put my mouth where my money is. My mouth where my money is.
Where else do you put that mouth, Brad?
On your lips. Oh,
nice. All right, let's go to Italy. Brad, this is your area of expertise. Yeah. We have Inter Milan against Fiorentina. Now, funnily enough, we just had this fixture. It just finished. Yeah. They were, I guess, resuming a game.
From player collapsed. I think it was in the 17th minute.
Yes, that was it. Yeah. I do remember that. They just resumed it. So I guess by the time this comes out, they'll have resumed it yesterday, which was Thursday. So today for us. And they're playing again in the league on Monday, I think it is, to give them, I guess, a bit of time. Now, I think Fiorentina just won. What was it like?
They won decisively.
Yeah, what was it? 2-0 or something like that? Fair enough. So now Inter are at home. How, as our resident Serie A expert, how's this
game going to destroy Fiorentina? They suck at playing on the road. And coming off a big win, oh man.
Nice. I saw a report, and to be fair, I don't credit it with much validity, but I saw a report that apparently Arsenal are quote unquote willing to break the bank and spend over 100 million on Lautaro Martinez. First of all, I don't give this report any credit. We are now absolutely at the point where every transfer leaking page is going to link Arsenal to every striker under the fucking sun. And that's going to be like that from now until the summer. So unless it comes from Fabrizio Romano or David Ornstein, I don't pay it any mind. But if somehow this is a credible leak and we are considering it, I think that would be the most idiotic thing ever. Well, not ever. That's a bit harsh. But that would be a terrible way to spend over 100 million. And you didn't call me. You didn't call me out on this. You challenged me. You posed a question. And
I just want to see how many you thought that were going to be better at the price.
Fair enough. Do I think there's necessarily one particular player at 100 million that's better? Not necessarily, but I do think we could collectively spend that 100 million better elsewhere.
Yeah.
Now, if we're going for a striker like Isak, Newcastle might demand like 100 million, 120 million for him. If it comes to that, okay, fine. I'll stump up the money. He's proven in the Premier League. He looks really good. And with the amount of chances that we create from Saka when he's healthy, from Odegaard, this man will score 20 goals in the Premier League season for sure. So I pay that money. But if we aren't going for a striker in that price bracket, you can get Victor Gyökeres for 70 or 80 million, I would guess. You can get Sesko for 60 million. Is he a proven guy? No. But could we develop him? He's got potential. We absolutely could, and if you spend 60 million there, then you've got, you've just saved yourselves, 40, 50 million that you could now put elsewhere. We're lining up a bid for Zubamendi for 60 million, and everyone's just like, oh, why are you signing another centre mid? Why don't you guys need an attacker? And it's just like, hey, Jorginho and Thomas Partey are out of contract this summer, and we're definitely not renewing either of them. Jorginho because he's old, and Partey for reasons we won't talk about. But we don't want them at the club anymore. They're getting moved on. So that's two centre mids that are leaving. So Zubamendi is 100% an acquisition that we do need. So we're going to spend 60 million on that. I mean, I've now heard that Madrid are interested in him. Personally, don't think they need him. Also, fuck off. Get out of here. We don't need you trying to steal our players. Okay, we're trying. Let us figure this shit out. You've got Camavinga, you've got Tchouaméni. You don't need another defensive mid, guys. Just you're fine. You're fine. You don't need Zubamendi. Let him come to Arsenal. So we'll get spend 60 million on him. Going to activate his release clause. Yeah. Say we have I don't know 100 million left to spend, which is a lot of money. Could you buy it? Isak? Yeah, sure. Could you buy Sesko and then try and get another attacking mid? Guys I threw out on the last episode, if it was 1 or 2 episodes ago. Enzo Milo, the guy for PSV, Malik Tillman. I'd love players like that. I don't think we're signing them. Yeah. I don't think we're going to sign them, but those would be great signings. Just for when Odegaard can't play. I know we're slowly developing Nwaneri to play either on the right wing when Saka is out, or as that left-sided centre mid to fill that Odegaard role if Odegaard is out. And Nwaneri absolutely is good enough. He can play, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to be able to play week in, week out, twice a week for 90 minutes. He's going to be 18 next season. That's a lot of minutes to put on a guy's legs. We need another older player who can play that position. Now, to be fair, we're going to have Fabio Vieira back from loan. He can also play as a centre mid or as a right winger. So we've got the versatility. So do we need someone? No. Would it be nice? Yes. We'll see. And then there was really only one other game I wanted to talk about, which was in Ligue 1, and it's PSG Monaco, mostly because this is like the only time there's an interesting game in this league is when PSG play a team in the top 4, and this is one of them. I don't think PSG have lost this season in the league.
I don't think so.
I don't think they have. So this is the chance. This is really one of the last few chances for them to. No, they have 0
They
losses.
have not. Yeah, 5
15
draws.
wins, 5 draws, 0 losses. So, and Monaco are in 3rd place. And Monaco are playing pretty well right now. They did just get spanked 3-0 by Inter, but they got a red card in the first 10 minutes, as I talked about so extensively at the beginning of the podcast. So I don't count that. Outside of that, 1-0 win against Aston Villa, a 3-2 win against Rennes, and then a 4-2 spanking of I'm not pronouncing this correctly, but Auxerre. That's definitely not the French pronunciation. It's probably Auxerre.
Auxerre, yeah.
That sounds about right.
You gonna bring my wife in?
Yeah, no, yeah. We need language. A little for our French consultant would be great. They just signed Mike Bierith from Sturm Graz, and I love that signing for them. One, because he's a former Arsenal player, so love to see the academy guys, go out and play really well elsewhere. He's just coming off a hat trick, against Auxerre, so fair enough. I would love it if Monaco gets something out of this game. This is one of those games where I'm going to put together a to score an assist lotto and a exact goal assist combo. By the way, Dembele is playing out of his fucking mind right now.
Dude,
since he turned into a striker, this guy is fucking scoring goals.
It's like it's like we started talking trash about his form and how he can't hit the frame, and then ever since that episode, he's like, yeah, I'll show these fucking losers.
Dude, I'm so pissed as well because last week I fumbled this every which way. I used to only play props or parlays or straights that involved assists on FanDuel because of the way that FanDuel grades assists. And unless it's like double the odds elsewhere, like absurdly high compared to FanDuel, I would exclusively take it on FanDuel. I've been getting a little bit tricky, a little bit overthinking, a little bit big for my boots. And if there's, the edge with which I say, okay, we'll play it elsewhere, it's getting smaller and smaller. So Dembele to score and Special K to assist was plus 500 on FanDuel. It was like plus 7, plus 800 on BetRivers. And I was like, okay, I'll take it there. That's almost double. That's pretty good. I'll take it there. Of course, Special K gets a FanDuel assist where Dembele scores off the rebound, and then he gets subbed off in like the 58th minute immediately after. So my bet loses because he didn't get a legit assist confirmed by Opta. So, of course, it was a win on FanDuel, but not a win where I took it. And then I put $10. I put a tenth of a unit on Dembele to score 2 goals. It was like 10-1 or something like that. It hit. And for some reason, I didn't put like $5 on the hat trick. And the hat trick was like plus 6,600. And I didn't just put like a little bit of money on it. And he just come off a hat trick against who did they play in the last week of the Champions League? That German team, Stuttgart. He just scored a hat trick against Stuttgart. And
Stuttgart. That was
and at no point was I just like he scored a hat trick, take him for a hat trick again. I don't know why it didn't compute. I didn't think about it, and he scored a hat trick, and I look stupid. That being said, you're going to get good odds on PSG players because Monaco's actually a decent team. Now be Lado Dembele again for sure.
Yeah, dude, you have to. I just can't believe I don't know why I didn't see this. Dude's phenomenal.
But it's so interesting because someone on football Twitter put something like Dembele peaking at the age of 27 is something we all should have seen coming. But in an almost sarcastic way, like a kid, like he was hyped up as a wonder kid when he was young, and didn't live up to the hype, and now he's playing well, and everyone's just like, oh yeah, we should have seen it coming, and it's just like, yeah, no shit. You shouldn't be surprised by this. That is a normal player development. We talk about a player is in their peak when they're between their mid to their late 20s. That's always been defined as these are the golden years, especially as an attacker. Those are your peak years. But we've now put so much pressure on these young teenagers. Even guys like Ethan Nwaneri for Arsenal. Yeah. I love him. And people at Arsenal fans are saying, "Oh my God, blah 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 blah. You know, our attackers are injured. Why aren't we starting Ranieri? Why aren't we starting Ranieri?" It's just like, guys, he's 17 years old. He can't. He just played 90 minutes in the Champions League. He was never going to play the full game in the league 3 or 4 days later. Yeah. That's just not, you know. And then everyone points and it's just like, "Oh well, Barcelona are doing it with Yamal," and it's just like, "Hey, we know that's a bad example, right? We know that Barcelona's treatment of their young talent is a bad thing, right? We all know that, right? We've all seen what happened to Gavi and Pedri. We all saw Yamal go out for a month with an issue with his leg muscles. We know that's a bad example, right? We're not. Don't tell me we're putting that up as the pinnacle. Don't tell me we're saying Barcelona are doing it with Yamal, so we should do it with Ranieri. Come on, guys. Work with me here. We know that's bad, right? And it just goes over their head. You can't. The amount of pressure on these teenagers, and especially with the so-called quote unquote tactitos that are on Twitter, that just, you know, just talk about, you know, they overanalyze so much shit. And look, don't get me wrong, I love a bit of analysis, okay? I love digging deep into games and talking, you know, about the game at a higher level. I don't just want to talk about the result. I want to talk about how teams played, how they set up. That stuff is fascinating to me. But God forbid, if I ever get to the point where I am over-obsessing over a 17-year-old and writing essays and essays and essays about how they play and how they should be starting in every single game, just take me out back and shoot me like it's of mice and men. It's like, we're losing our minds here. The amount of, and like, is it pressure on the players? No. Are the players reading all this shit on Twitter from these fake, you know, pretending to have a license, a coaching license people? Just like, no, they're not reading that shit. But the public perception of these young players has gotten so out of hand that we're getting to the point where we're surprised that Ousmane Dembele is having a really good season at the age of 26 or 27. Yeah, he should be. Yeah. We knew he was good. We knew he was a good young talent, and he was, funnily enough, incredibly injury prone at Barcelona. We were just talking. Whoa, Barcelona play their young kids too much and they get hurt? What? This is a surprise to me, Brad. Then he moves to PSG, takes him a bit of time, sure. And now he's having a really good season. Yeah, because he's a decent player. Is he a world-class phenom? No. And you know what? That's fine. That's okay. He can be a very good player, and that is perfectly okay. And becoming a perfectly good player at the age of 27, when you were hyped as a kid, is a normal timeline. That is a very good, natural, organic development timeline. And people are acting like he's like suddenly a late bloomer. No, he's not. He just wasn't an insane teenager, because funnily enough, that doesn't happen every time. Okay, it's rare. Think about Martin Odegaard, signed to Real Madrid at the age of 15. And everyone's wondering, why didn't he fit in with the social groups there? Yeah, because he was 15 years old and Toni Kroos and Modric were 30. Yeah, he was never going to play over them. He was never going to get along with them very well. That's just how life works. It's not suddenly different because you play at the same team. There's a generational gap here that was difficult to bridge. He moved to Arsenal, a sudden change in atmosphere. Brilliant. Now he's a borderline world-class centre mid. And he is what, in his early, almost mid-20s? Yeah, natural progression. He was never going to be the player he is now at the age of 15 at Real Madrid. That was never going to happen. Yeah. And people don't get that. But yeah. We squeezed in a little baby secondary rant there.
Usually anytime Sam can talk about Arsenal, he's excited.
I wasn't even talking about Arsenal that time.
Kind of.
Not really. Okay. I brought up Odegaard, but to be fair, Odegaard... Dembele didn't even play for Arsenal.
I didn't say Dembele.
Oh, I thought you said Dembele. Who did you say?
No. Ethan Nwaneri.
Oh, Ranieri. Okay, good point. But to be fair, he is one of the most exciting 17-year-olds. And I miss Saka. Don't talk about Saka. I miss.
I made Sam cry.
I miss Saka. You know the Newcastle games are the only games that we've lost without Saka, and it's just like, we've done pretty damn well without him. Okay, we have. You know, we've lost 4 games all season. 3 of them are to Newcastle, and 1 is to Inter Milan on a bullshit penalty.
Holy smokes!
I give credit to Newcastle. I have no beef with them. I think they are playing really well. Did they have a shaky start to the season? Yep, and we criticize them for that. Have they looked really good in the past few months? Oh yeah, absolutely. They deserve a lot of praise for it. But yeah. Well, that's the last game I wanted to talk about. Brad, any other games that you want to talk about?
Oh yes. I think the price, like they're gonna keep pricing these Juventus games, both teams to score at -110. I'm just gonna keep taking them. Como versus Juventus, like Como, they're a hard out for anyone. They right, like so.
Nico Paz, baby, Nico Paz. He plays with Como, right? That's Nico Paz's team, right?
Nico Paz is amazing.
Oh, thank God. Didn't they sign Dele Alli too?
Yep. He should be ready.
I love to see him play again. I know I know we said he wants to get back into the England team, but I don't think that's going to happen. But just to see him play at a professional level again, I'd love to see that.
Dude, like I think everyone wants him to play at a high level.
Yeah, that'd be a good feel good story. Alrighty, Brad, I am at the end of my drink. Oh, I haven't said this in so long. I used to. You ever? Sometimes I listen to our episodes back. I used to drink in every episode.
Dude, I need to crack one open next time.
Dude, we should just a couple of tipsy boys chatting shit, talking ball. Love that vibe. I just recently. Well, I've been celebrating because I made a bunch of money on Austin Reeves like a month ago at the beginning of the new year. So I put half aside for taxes and a quarter aside for paying off loans and stuff like that. When these student loans are done, that'll be the day. But I left myself a couple of grand of fuck you money, fun spending money, and I bought myself a bottle of Macallan 15, and I figured I would crack it open and pour myself a couple of inches for the podcast because hey, it's good shit, and I was in the mood for a rant, and my rants are always I'm hesitant to say more entertaining, but definitely more assertive, active, vibrant.
I think they're fun.
Animated
too. It's funny too because like I talk a shit ton, but then I do shows with you. I'm just like laughing the whole time. I'm like,
hey, we bounce off each other, baby. We bounce off each other.
It's perfect.
Alrighty. Hey, I think we sufficiently made up for not talking last week. We got a nice little bumper hour and a half episode out.
Yeah,
and you know what? Sometimes it's fun to just shoot the shit. But yeah, Brad, anything you want to plug before we say goodbye?
No power rankings this week. Just follow me on X at MrBradThomas. Power rankings will be back for next match day.
Woohoo. If you had to power rank Liverpool and Everton exclusively, how would you power rank them?
So I'll do one bet for each team. So I'd probably take Liverpool under 4.5. And then for Everton, I would probably take Everton to score a goal. I think it's.
I was going to say, what's Everton team total over 0.5? It must be decent, right?
It's like probably like -125. Let me see.
It's tempting.
I pull that up. I had it up.
Well, they're at home, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
they're at home.
Park.
And this is the last Merseyside derby in Goodison Park.
Mm-hmm.
-148. Whoa.
Ooh, that's a little juicy.
That's a little juicy, man. A little juicy.
Fair enough. Hey. But alrighty. Yes, when the power rankings are back. I can't wait. I love me some power. I love me some power rankings.
Yes, sir.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at FIFA Brit. And if you haven't signed up for Gold Boys, now is a brilliant time to do so. Yes, NFL is ending. We have the Super Bowl this weekend, but that doesn't mean the action stops. Basketball is still going at full strength. We've got a bunch of crazy shit going on because the trade deadline just happened. So a bunch of new opportunities to take advantage of. Love that. Soccer, obviously, going on and is going to continue to be ongoing. We still have a few months left of the regular season. And then, of course, in a few weeks' time, the MLS is back. And I can't wait for that shit, too. And we're only like a month away from baseball. So if you like that shit, now is the time to sign up. You guys can sign up at goldboys.com. And of course, thank you very much to the Gold Boys Network for continuing to allow this podcast to exist. We appreciate you guys very much. I know it's a fairly chaotic and inconsistent product, but you know, when it is out, it's a good time. So things you love to see. Brad, I missed you last week. It's been great to see you again this week. And to everyone at home, if you're following us, brilliant. We'd love to hear you. We'd love to see you coming back. If you aren't following us, go and follow the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your vendor of choice is. And if you're feeling particularly generous, leave us a nice 5-star review in the review section, because we love that shit very much. Thank you all for listening. Best of luck with all your bets this weekend, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.